Hi New Zealand, I'm Jay from Drive EV in Taupo, and we're going to do a round the lake range test. We are going to take every one of our electric cars around Lake Taupo to see how much range it actually has and to see how efficient it is. At the end, we're going to charge it up to 80% as fast as the car can to see how these cars handle real life in Aotearoa. It's Jay's round the lake range test. Today we are driving the MG5 SWEV. We are leaving home with, what we got? We got 70% range. It was a bit more, but I was messing around with the cameras and I left the heaters on. Couldn't quite work out why I was so uncomfortable. Good to know. That's saying 224 kilometers on the guessometer. It is a 10-degree day outside apparently, and sunshine, not particularly windy. So it should be reasonably ideal conditions. I mean, obviously a little bit cold on the battery, but I'm sure it will cope quite well. This has already proved itself to me to be a bit of a workhorse. We brought it up from Auckland. We found it in the dead of night. We hid it in a hotel car park and then drove it back the next day and thoroughly loved it. This seems to be the electric car that everyone's telling me they're waiting for. It looks like Peugeot made a Subaru, and that's not too bad. If you like Peugeots and Subarus. This is the basic spec for the MG5 SWEV. We've got a battery size of 52.5 kilowatt hours. The DC charge rate that they're saying is 50 kilowatts, which works quite nicely with most of the chargers around New Zealand. The WLTP range on this one is 214 miles, which translates to 344 kilometers. Again, we'll check on that. Has one motor and one motor option only, so it's front wheel drive, front motor, giving us 156 PS, 114 kilowatts, which is a lot more interesting to us, and 153 horsepower. It doesn't have one pedal driving, but it does have a 3-stage regeneration, which they're calling KERS, or Kinetic Energy Recovery System, which makes it sound all Formula 1. That's pretty cool. The plug type is Type 2 or CCS, and it plugs into the front of the car. I'm going to declare this one to be a station wagon because that's what the MG say it is. It says it's the MG5 SW for station wagon. The Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS, it's got standard cruise. It's got 5 seats, and we're going to test to see what that's like sitting in the front. Me being 6'2", if Ned's around, we'll get him to test it. He's 6'4". We'll see if he can sit in the front and still be comfortable in the back. It has Android Auto and CarPlay, which works really well, and that is a wired system. You charge your phone through the USB, and that's the one for the Android Auto. We are going to be using heated seats because we've got them. We're going to be using cruise control, and if I work it out, Apple CarPlay. I think it's just that I've locked my phone. I'm pretty sure it's a user error on this end. Cruise control is incredibly intuitive, no messing about. Tap the button on the end of the stalk and it activates. Move the stalk up, down, goes faster, goes slower. Tap the button again and it will change to whatever speed you've changed to. And push the stalk forward and it will turn off. Can't make it much easier, can they really? 40k's in and Jay's just noticed that he had the AC on despite it being pretty bloody cold outside. So, you know, good efficient driving there. The cabin's well put together on this one. There's not a lot of creaks or squeaks or rattles or anything that can distract you and annoy you whilst you're driving. The car itself is pretty quiet. I mean, obviously there's no engine noise. There's not a lot of wind noise. There's not a lot of road drone and road noise, which, considering the roads that I'm driving on, that's quite impressive. I'm guessing a lot of that is down to fairly soft suspension and pretty big tyres. Things to bear in mind, you have standard cruise control on this, so it's not going to keep you in your lane, it's not going to react to other traffic, it's not aware of its surroundings, it's just going to keep you at your speed and give you a rest for your foot, which is great. Less to go wrong. The MG's got 3 drive modes. It's got your fairly standard Eco, Normal and Sport. You're welcome to try Eco. I'll leave that up to anybody that wants to. Normal's fine. Sport changes the throttle mapping. Doesn't seem to add any power into the mix, but it does seem to move what power it has further down the throttle, so it feels a bit more responsive. Normal seems fine. You've got everything you need in there. It's just a bit more progressive and a bit more intuitive. It feels safe. I've never yet driven an electric car that didn't feel safe at the posted speed. We have average speed of 42 kilometers an hour. That's nowhere near the mean speed, but bear in mind I'm stopping to do the drone and all that kind of messing about. We've used 21 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Again, a reasonable amount of slowing down and accelerating on this particular journey. We've got pretty windy today. It's not particularly warm, and there's been a solid amount of wind for the last couple of days. We've got 31% remaining, and the car reckons that's good for 101 Ks. Yeah, it should be fine. I'm certainly not planning to stop and charge in Turangi. I am planning to stop for a pie though. So I'm following an SUV through the corners near Kuratao, and we're doing all of 65 kilometers an hour at a posted speed limit of 100 k's an hour, and this is the softest of all the currently available electric cars, and it's fine. It's just floating smoothly around. But the SUV in front of me, you can really see physics working, as it's got a really high center of gravity, and it's having to do significantly less than the legal speed limit, about half, and in order to maintain any kind of composure. And you can actually see the vehicle leaning as it goes through every corner. So we've got 170 almost kilometers out of about 70 down to 12, so 60% of the range, and averaging 17.7 kilowatt hours per 100 Ks, and apparently driving very slowly, but I'm not quite sure on that one myself. So now we'll charge it up. The fastest that we can charge this at is 50 kilowatts. So we're going to plug it in. Battery should be nice and warm anyway, and we'll get an idea of how long it takes to go from 12% back up to 80. MG5 is supposed to have a 52 kilowatt hour battery, and it's supposed to charge at 50 kilowatts. We found slightly different. We found 41 kilowatt hours went in over 50 minutes at a max charge rate of 80.3 kilowatts. And we went from about 10% to 80%. Now, if you do the math on that, that says to me, yep, 52 kilowatt hour battery. But I think we're doing considerably better than the max rate of 50 kilowatts that they're saying. And that's the story on the MG5.